Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are continuing our place value study for another week, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about word form. Before we do that, though, we are going to do a quick review of what we learned last week because our test you'll probably take it on Friday or Thursday or Saturday at the end of the week. I really want you to have a better understanding of everything that we've already gone over. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are back with place value again for the second week, and I am so excited to be talking to you guys today about word form. Before we do that, though, we are going to review everything we learned last week in a very quick way, and I am so excited because I have something really cool to use this week, and it is a rose gold microphone. What's really cool about this is that I am going to ask you questions and you are going to answer when I put the mic towards you like this. And that way we can talk back and forth and you can interact with me and you know exactly when it's your turn to talk. So when I have the microphone, it's my turn to talk. And when you have the microphone, it is your turn to respond. So we are continuing our study of place value. Just as a reminder, the word place means where the numbers live, and the word value means how much a number is worth. The first thing we're going to review is our places. We have 6 different places that we learn about in 3rd grade, and I would like to see if you remember, what is the smallest place? It's where the digit 9 is living in this number. If you said the ones place, you are correct. The next one is right after the ones, and it's not much bigger, and it's a long, skinny block that we would draw. What place is that? If you said tens place, you are correct. The next place is right before the comma, and it goes ones, tens. If you said hundreds, you are correct. Now notice that little tiny thing that comes right after the hundredths place. It's called a what? A comma. Good job. And the purpose of the comma is to separate ones, tens, and hundreds from all of the different places that have the word thousands in it. I just gave you a hint for the next place. Can you tell me what place the 4 is living in here? Ones, tens, hundreds, comma, and then the thousands place. Very good. After that, we have 2 more places. Now, I want you to think about our pattern. We have ones, tens, hundreds, and then that pattern starts over again with the thousands. Thousands, what would come after that? If you said 10,000s, you are correct. And then the big kahuna, the biggest place we go up to in 3rd grade, a 6-digit number. What is that very last place called? The longest place that we see. What is it called? If you said 100,000s place, you are correct. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Say that with me. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Great job. The next thing we're going to go over is our digits. Remember, a digit is a single number. All the single numbers, all the single numbers, all the single numbers. Now put your hands up. Okay, these are our single numbers. There are 10 of them, but 10 is not one of them because that is a 2-digit number. The 10th one is actually the first number we're going to talk about here. What is the smallest digit? It means nothing. It stands for nothing. But it is important. It's round, a 0. If you said 0, that is correct. Now we're just going to count up until we get to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We stop at 9 because 10 is not a single digit. He has 2 digits, 1 and 0. So we know that that is not a single digit number. Everything between 0 and 9. Do not forget about 0 because it's very easy to leave him out. The next thing we're going to talk about are the 2 forms that we have already learned about, standard form and base 10 form. I want you to say the word standard. I couldn't hear you. Say it louder. Standard. Standard form is just the regular way to write a number. You have been using standard form since you were in kindergarten, okay? So down here we see this number, 2,351. That is called the standard form because you wrote it just like regular. So I want you to say with me, standard form is the regular number. Let's try that whole thing. Standard form is the regular number. That's right, standard form is just the regular way to write a number. So if I ask you to write a number in standard form, I want you to just write that number, just like it is, plain and simple. I don't want anything else but the regular number for standard form. The next form we learned about last week was base 10. Everybody say base 10. Base 10 is when you write a number with blocks or you model it. Model is a fancy word for picture. So we are showing with a picture how to do a number with base 10 blocks. Do you hear that? Base 10, but base, but blocks. Base 10 blocks, but. Those two go together, B and B. Base and block start with a B, so you know that base 10 goes with blocks, okay? Everybody say base 10 goes with blocks. Perfect. Now, if you look down here, we wrote this number, 2,351, with blocks. We had 1 ones block, 5 tens blocks, 3 hundreds blocks, and 2 thousands blocks, okay? That is how we did base 10 form. Now, today, we are learning about a new form. Are you ready for it? Let me turn the echo on this thing for this because it's exciting. Word form. I like the echo feature on that. So we're learning about word form, which is exactly what it sounds like. And that would just be writing a number with words. So the first thing you're going to need to do is say the word out loud, and then you're going to write it down. It's pretty simple. And this is why that lesson about how to read 6-digit numbers was actually very important, because this is going to help us today with word form. So word form is exactly what it sounds like, just writing it out in words. Right here, we had the number 14,639, and I wrote that out in words, 14,639. And you're probably sitting there thinking, Miss Weaver, oh my goodness, that's a really big number, and that's a lot of words. It is a lot of words. So I'm going to show you today how to break that number down into 2 parts, and we're going to go through it step by step and learn how to write numbers using words. You're going to want some pencil and some papers. So you can use a different writing utensil besides a pencil. If you would like a marker or a pen, that's fine. But if you mess up, it's a lot easier to erase pencil instead of marker or pen, and that way you don't have to start all over again. You are not going to know how to spell all the words today. That's okay. Please do not get hung up on that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want you to get upset if you can't spell a word, okay? Just try your best. Sound it out. Spell it the best way you can. I'm not going to be there to check your spelling. That's okay. I just want you to know exactly what you wrote down. So as long as you can read it, we're good. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do is notice this number is broken up into 2 parts. I did this because it makes it a lot easier to say and a lot easier to write down. We divide it wherever the comma is. We karate chop it there at the comma. So everything that comes before the comma is what we're going to say first and then write down. You say it, then write it. Say it, write it. So this number right here in the cloud is not 294, but how do we say that? 294. So then I came over here and I wrote 294. Notice how I put them all in words and I did not put any numbers over here. That's because this is word form, not standard form. We're taking it from standard form to word form. So 294, whenever you see the comma, that's when you know that it's time to write the word thousand. What does the comma say? Thousand, correct. So after that word thousand, notice how I put a little comma there, just like I have in the number. Oh, because it helps us stay organized and break up the words into 2 parts as well. 294,000, and then we're going to do the second part. How would you say that number? 153. 153. So all you do is you break it up into 2 parts. You read the first part, read it, write it. Read it, write it. Read it, write it. And that's all you're doing for word form. So let's start easy with a 4-digit number. We have the number 5,637 here. What we're going to do is we're going to karate chop it at the comma, and we're going to say everything before the comma first. What is that number right there? That number is just a what? A 5. So you're going to write the word 5 down. And then you're going to look at the comma, and think, what word does the comma say? The comma says thousand, comma say thousand, comma say thousand, comma say thousand, comma say thousand. So we have 5, and then the comma says thousand, so you write 5,000, and then after the word thousand, put a comma, and then you are going to write the second part of the number. This is a little bit more challenging because there are more digits here. I don't want you to write down 637 because that is not how you would read this part of the number. You would write that down as 637. Now, I am going to go ahead and reveal the answer in a moment, but you are going to have to pause this video several times to make sure that you have your answer written down, and then you can check yourself. So I'm going to give you a countdown every time before I show the answer to make sure you have time to pause the video, write down your answer, and then compare them to see if you got it correct or not. So go ahead and write down 5,637. Make sure you're doing this on your pencil, on your paper with your pencil, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answer. Go ahead and pause it if you're not done. In 3, 2, 1. That's what it looks like. The word 5, the word thousand, comma, and then the word 637. Like I said, spelling does not count. I don't care if you accidentally spelled a word wrong. That's okay. All right, don't get hung up on that. We are focused on saying it and writing it the best we can, okay? All we want is positivity here. We do not want to be tearing ourselves down or beating ourselves up because we don't know how to spell that word exactly. That is okay. I don't expect you to know how to spell the word 1,000 or 100 or 30, okay? That's all right. Just spell it the best you can, all right? So the next one we're going to do is a 5-digit number. Same idea. We're going to karate chop it at the comma, and we're going to write that first part down, and then we're going to write the word 1,000 for comma, and then we're going to do a comma, and then we're going to write the second part down. All right, that first part before the comma is what? How would you say that number? 34. That's correct. 34. So you're going to write down the words 34, and the comma says what? Comma say 1,000. Good. Go ahead and pause the video so you don't get overwhelmed and write that part down. 34,000. All right. After the word 1,000, you're going to put a comma. Make sure you pause it if you need time. Then, after the word 1,000 and the comma, we're going to do the second part right here. How would I say that number? 890. Good. So then you're going to write down the words 890. Did we say 90 here? No, we just said 90 because that's what the number is, 890. So go ahead, pause this video if you need time to write down the whole thing. 34,890. Pause it. I'm going to give you a countdown. I'm going to reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1. There it is, 34,890. And if you spelled it wrong, that's okay. Do not get upset. You do not need to erase. You do not need to go back and spell it correctly. As long as your answer matches mine and you can read it and it sounds like mine, then that's the most important thing. All right, let's try our 6-digit number. We have 2 more to do and then we are done. All right, so what we're going to do here is the same thing. Karate chop the number into 2 parts. We're going to say this number first. How would you say that number? 100. If you said 100, you are correct. Write the words 100. After you have that down, we have the comma. What does the comma say? 1,000. Correct. So we have 100,000. Pause this video and go ahead and write that down. 100,000. After that, you're going to put your comma after the word 1,000. Pause the video if you need to before we go to the second part. And then we're going to read this part of the number to add on to the end. 829. How would you say that? We don't say it 829. How would you read that number? 829. Good. So you're going to write down the words 8, then the words 100, then the word 20, and then the word 9. And yes, it is going to take you a minute to do this, and that's because this is a big number. So take your time. Go ahead, pause this video before I show the answer, get your answer down, and then check yourself, okay? Press play after you're done writing that whole thing down. 100,829. Go ahead. I'm going to give a countdown. Pause the video if you're not done. 3, 2, 1. There it is, 100,000, 829. Go ahead and pause this if you want to check yourself, make sure that you got it correct. We have one more number to do together, and then we are done for today. This is our biggest challenge yet. I wanted to end this on the hardest as possible number because I want to make sure that you got this, and I know you do because you guys are all incredibly smart third graders, and I know that you are paying attention and you are doing your very best at home right now. If you have not been writing down these numbers and you have just been kind of listening to this video, I want you to go back and I want you to go do those other 3 numbers we just did, because if you're not practicing it, you're not going to know what to do for the review, you're not going to know what to do for the test, and you're not going to get those answers correct. The only way to learn math is to use your pencil and your paper and do the work and show your work, okay? So if you don't have a pencil and paper, go get that now. Make sure you're doing this, because if not, then you're not going to know what to do. All right, here we go. Last one. Karate chop the number into 2 parts. The first part is 375. How would we read that number? If you said 375, you are correct. So we're going to write down the words 375. Whew. I bet you your hand is tired by now. Am I right? That's what I thought. And then we get to the comma. What does the comma say? Comma say what? Comma say 1,000. Yes, you're going to write the word 1,000 down. 375,000. Go ahead, pause this video, get that written down, and then press play once you have that done. After you have that done, you're going to put a comma after the word 1,000. Make sure you do that to separate the 2 chunks of this number, the 2 sections. So we have 375,000 written down. Now the last part. Whew, we're almost done. You're doing so good. I'm so proud of you for hanging in there. 829. How would you read that? 829, you are correct. Make sure you're reading this out loud to yourself, and you can read it out loud several times to yourself because you want to make sure you write it down correctly. 829, 829. Go ahead and write that down, get the whole thing written down, and then I'm going to reveal the answer. Pause that video if you are not done, because I'm going to go ahead and do the countdown in 3, 2, 1. This is our answer. Wow, look at all those words. 375,000, 829. Oh my goodness, what a long word form for that number. I am so proud of you guys for practicing it that way. Now, in a little bit, you're going to also practice doing it reverse. What I mean by that is I'm going to give you the words and you're going to write the number down. So I want to talk about that really quickly. Instead of this number, you are going to have the words, and I am going to ask you to write down the number from the words. This part can be tricky, but the comma is going to be the key. The comma is the key. So you're going to write down the number, everything before that comma, you're going to write down that number, okay? So you're going to put 978. So you would write down 978. Then you know that the comma says 1,000. So you don't need to put 000. You're going to put a comma there when you see the word 1,000. So you're going to write 978, comma, for 1,000. Then you're going to write the rest of that number after the comma. And notice how it's going to come after the comma here. 303. So I have a 3 in the hundreds place. I don't have anything in the tens place, though. What did I put there? A 0, because something has to go in the tens place, always. And then a 3. 303. So make sure that if there's not anything for one of those places, you put a 0 there, all right? You always have to have 3 numbers over here on this side of the comma. Over here, you could have just an 8 or a 7 or a 9, and that's fine, but you always have to have something in the ones, the tens, and the hundreds if you have a 4, 5, or 6 digit number, okay? You always have to put something there. If there's nothing there, you have to put a 0 as a placeholder. So go ahead, practice that. Good luck. And then I think tomorrow I'm going to have you guys do a Google form quiz about word form because we're going to review it a little bit more tomorrow as well. Great job today, guys. I am so proud of you. Fantastic.